Podcast. You guys guessed it. In honor of Shark Week, we're doing a throwback on the 1975 Steven Spielberg classic, Jaws. I'm Brian Banner, and we have our resident drunk fisherman, Matthew F. Geiger, with us tonight. As you all know, we grade every movie on 5 criteria, so Geiger, go ahead and get us started on acting and cast.
I'm going to pick Quint. Confession to make. Excuse me, I drank a beer and it went down wrong. Confession to make, this is my very first time ever seeing Jaws, and the mad scientist made me watch it today. I actually watched it during work. Fucking sue me. It is a fantastic movie, and Quint is my favorite character in it. He's just a drunk fisherman. He just has so much insight. I love him and Hooper's dynamic. I'll leave him toward you. But just his hunting sharks, and then his apartment that basically looked like Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville without the Margaritaville machine and shit in the background, and the cheeseburger in paradise. I think that he was probably the biggest character that spoke toward me. I didn't really, kind of see the sheriff or Hooper as much, but Quint to this really stood out to me, and every time he was on the screen, the first time he's on the screen there in that town hall meeting, I'm like, I need more of him, and I didn't really get it until at the end of the movie, but then, the last third act of the movie is just all in his boat, so I'm going to pick him.
Yeah, he killed it in this. He's just, every movie has to have that badass guy that everybody wants to be, and everybody can relate to him, whether you're a fisherman, whether you don't fish, whether you drink, whether you don't drink, whether you're the biggest pussy ever, you can still relate to him, and he's a very relatable character. I as well really enjoyed him. I'm going to go and talk about Richard Dreyfuss, who played Hooper in this. I loved his character and his portrayal of this character. I'm going to go super nerd on this here. His character is extremely different in the book, and I prefer this character in the movie. He's just this smug, arrogant prick that just continually gets put in his place by Quint, and learns pretty quick that, like, hey, I understand all this book stuff, and I know fish, but I don't know jack fucking shit about sharks and fish. And he realizes pretty quick that he can learn a lot from Quint, and I think that he kind of embraces that. And we'll talk about when he really does that when we get to best scene, I'm sure. Geiger, what'd you think of the story? Obviously, this is your first time seeing it. The movie was made in 1975. Does it hold up?
The story really surprised me. The story is, I think, the best part of this film. Now, once again, I'm aware of Jaws. I've seen it on TV, but most of the time when it's on TV, it was 40 minutes in, and, it's kind of hard to watch a movie 40 minutes in. So whenever I sat down and watched it, basically it's about a beach town, but it's about up north, kind of Cape Cod area. So they only have about 4 months out of the year to make money, where it's actually hot and people want to be at the beach. So it's about 2 weeks before 4th of July weekend. There's a shark attack that the mayor tries to pull off as she got caught in a fucking boat motor or something. So then Hooper comes in, who's, fresh out of college studying all this shit. He's like, dude, that's not a boat motor. And then, the people try to capture the shark, and the mayor's like, we got to keep this fucking thing open for 4th of July. It's our biggest moneymaker. What do you want us to do? Basically just cut out the number one day that makes us the most money. The story I thought fit. It was simple, yet, it had layers to it with, people's kids and everyone playing in the ocean. I thought it was absolutely spot on, for sure. What about you?
Yeah, I love that it's so simple. And here's the thing. It's ridiculous to think that a fucking 38,000-foot shark is going to come up to the shore and bite you. But at the same time, anytime somebody steps in the ocean, that is a fear that runs through your head.
Yes. Is
I'm going to get eaten by a goddamn fucking shark.
Well, for me. And I'm actually going to Florida in a couple weeks on vacation with my wife, and now I'm scared to get in the water. So you want me to watch a movie about a plane crash before I leave too, Banner? Or maybe a wife killing a husband?
Snakes on a plane? Go ahead and check that one out.
Cool. Because I'm scared as shit to get in the water now, and we're going to Florida. So that's fun.
But and it's really, again, it's a simple story. It's keep the beaches open. How do we do that? We got to catch this fucking thing. And I love it. I think it's awesome. It's perfect. What's your favorite scene in the movie? Because there are some good ones, some really iconic lines in the scene. So what's your favorite scene in this movie, Geiger?
I think we both agree on best scene, but I'll leave it to you and
No. Take it.
No, because I wrote down another one.
Okay.
because there's another scene that I really like that I didn't actually, it kind of caught me by surprise. It added some depth to the story, I thought. Whenever they first thought they caught the shark, when a bunch of the idiot townspeople went out on their boats and caught the shark, and they're taking a picture of it and putting it in the paper, and everyone's rejoicing and stuff. But then Hooper's over there just in the back of the picture with a measuring stick, just doing some calculations, and just goes over to the sheriff and just being like, dude, there's no fucking way. This mouth's too small. And by the way, sharks have like small digestive tracts, so if we just cut this thing open right now, her kid will probably be on it. And then the mayor's like, we can't cut it open right now, right in front of her, have her kid fucking just fall out. So they do it later, and of course that's not the right shark because it's way too small. I thought it was, it added a dynamic to the story that I never thought in the 70s they'd be smart enough to do.
Yeah, I really like that scene too, because again, first off, you have these, like, how realistic is it that you're going to have townspeople go out in a fucking John boat and catch a 10-foot shark? Like, there's going to be some crazy rednecks that do that. I'm probably one of them.
Dude, if we lived on a port and there was like a $3,000 reward, oh my God, we'd tell our wives, listen, we'll be back in a week maybe, or when the beer runs out.
Pick up a fucking 30-pack apiece, go out on the John boat with our little, like,
sushi,
beers and a stick of dynamite, and we'll catch this fucking thing.
God, that'd be awesome.
My favorite scene, which I think is one of the best scenes really that Spielberg has done in any of his movies, is when Quint, Brody, and Hooper are all sitting around the table on Quint's boat, just shooting the shit, telling old war stories, reliving the glory days, showing off their scars to each other, drinking whiskey right before kind of the shark attacks them.
Yeah.
That scene is when I think all three of them realize how fucking crazy they are for doing this, but understanding why they're doing this. They all have their own motivations for doing it, and they all respect each other for that. I think that's the first time that really Hooper respects Quint, and Quint reciprocates that back to Hooper. And you can feel that. They showed us, they did not tell us.
And I'll jump in on that scene. I like when they broke out into song too, and I don't know, there's just something about me. I love the Old West, I love Westerns, and I love, pirates and just old fishermen on boats drinking under the stars, telling stories. And it's something that it started to make me think about Pirates of the Caribbean. And correct me if I'm wrong, we've never gotten that scene in Pirates, have we? Where they're just on a ship drinking rum, just talking about all their stories and stuff.
Oh.
And it was one of the greatest scenes in movie history, actually, and I can't believe I've never seen it before, as big of a movie buff we are. I mean, I'm on a fucking podcast that talks about movies, and it's a scene that I'm going to probably go watch it again. It was a fantastic scene, very well done.
So before we get to watching it again, obviously you've never seen this, but what do you feel like the impact on pop culture is for this movie? I mean, obviously neither one of us were alive when it came out, but here we are, what are we, almost 50 years later, and we're still talking about it? Two
things. One, I talked to my mom about this movie, and she said in high school, you weren't anybody unless you saw Jaws on opening weekend, and she says it was the very first ever, like, quote-unquote blockbuster movie, and I think that was the first movie that actually got the term blockbuster because people were lining up down the block that they're, like, busting the block. That's where that came from. Because it came out, I believe, 2 or 3 years before the original Star Wars. And this is kind of what started, really, I don't know if we'd be here if it wouldn't be for Jaws. Big anticipated movies that people are waiting around the block just to go see and get a glimpse of this thing. And the other thing I have is a question for you, and anybody, really. Tweet at us if you know the answer to this, at Broforce Squad. Would we have Shark Week if we didn't have Jaws? If we didn't have a Jaws movie? Would there be Sharknado? Would there be Deep Blue Sea that we're doing a movie commentary on? Would there be a Shark Week without Jaws?
Honestly, probably not. I mean, I think that you bring up a great point that isn't even on my notes here, but it spurred people's terror and fear of sharks, which then we took the scientific community that goes, look, sharks aren't that bad, a la now you have Shark Week.
Yeah.
Now, honestly, we're however many years later, every movie about sharks is still chasing Jaws.
Yeah.
And that's to say something about the movie. One other quick thing I wanted to say is I think this is the movie that put Spielberg on the map. I know he had a couple of films before this, but this is the one that people are like, that is a Spielberg movie. And I want more of him. And again, now 40, 50, however many fucking years later it is, I don't do math except for how many beers I have left in the fridge, we still haven't. Last thing on Impact, I want to talk about John Williams because I have to score the score.
His poster's over your bed, for God's sake.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I got a fat-headed John Williams on my fucking wall, guys.
It's the only reason you climax with your wife, because you just think about the score. This is the first movie that he did that people can recognize, hey, that is a John Williams. He was actually nominated for Oscars prior to this, but this is the first one where people knew his name and he's an household name. This is what got him Star Wars, Jurassic Park, Harry Potter, Superman, all the fucking classics. This is what he did, and this is one of maybe two that people play at baseball games. And you actually talked about this earlier, Geiger. And I'll let you finish that thought since this is yours. It's probably the most recognizable, popular score of all time, other than the Imperial March in Star Wars. I mean, it's played in basketball games, it's played in baseball stadiums, it's played, if you go to a horse track or in Vegas or something in between stuff. It's just popular. It's cool, and whenever you do it, everyone's like, "Oh, that's from Jaws. That's awesome." It might not be, the best score. I don't know about that because there's a lot of other sympathies now, and people get way more into it than they used to. But the most recognizable, I would say, is probably even more recognizable than Imperial March, possibly. Everyone knows that's from Jaws.
I think you're right. Last category we got to tackle real quick: rewatchability. I'm going to take this one first, guys. I watch this at least twice a year. Sometimes 4 or 5 times a year. I'm a sick person. Geiger, you've never watched this. So
Ever.
I want to know, are you going to watch this movie again, and how often?
So this is a movie for me, and for me, I love watching movies as like on a time. So like before U.S. Open weekend, I always watch Tin Cup. For Christmas, I always watch Christmas Vacation. For Halloween, I always watch Sleepy Hollow. This movie I can see myself watching on 4th of July because it takes place 4th of July. Definitely on Shark Week, and then just anytime I go to an ocean or a beach in just a summer movie. And let us say, I love Shark Week. I love that it's bro-y, and trust me, I love dumb movies. We do commentaries on them all the time. But this is an actual good movie, and it's the only good shark movie ever, I think. All the rest of them are dumb or stupid or just like Sharknado, just dog shit. But this movie is actually a cinematic masterpiece, in my opinion, and it's the only good shark movie.
100%.
So rewatchability 2 to 3 times a year for me.
I could not be more proud of The Prodigal Son now.
We agree on something. That's
Jesus,
like the first thing
the hell must have froze over, guys. With that, we're going to go ahead and end this bro back. Guys, you can check us out on our website, bro4squad.com. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube and iTunes. Go ahead and leave us a review because we know we're awesome. And you can also follow us on Twitter at bro4squad. Go ahead and like us on Facebook if you do that kind of thing. Guys, until next time, we're going to try and not get eaten by a shark. And we'll talk to you next time.
Dun it. Dun it. Dun it. Dun it.
Dun it.